Salute, salute, salute. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another one episode of the House of Urban Lounge podcast. I am Urban. I appreciate you tuning in to this evening show. Now, this evening we got a lot to unpack, y'all. A whole lot to unpack, y'all. When I'm doing this episode, this particular one episode, I'm not gonna rush it. I'm gonna take as long as I need to break all this stuff down and explain it to you and to the best of my ability, or as other people say, articulate it to you to the best of my ability, because it is so much to unpack on this particular topic. I hope y'all are having a good evening. I hope your day was productive if you were working, or if you wasn't working yet and still hope you had a very productive day today. All right. But nevertheless, I don't want to drag this thing on. Just like I say, it's a lot that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to cover. I got a lot of videos that I'm going to share with y'all tonight. Still dealing with this just pearly thing situation. All right. For those of you who've been following my podcast, or you just probably been following, YouTube or whatever, we've been talking about this whole just pearly thing situation where she invited a supremacist, a white supremacist, onto her show. Ever since she invited this supremacist onto her show, the whole black manosphere been chaotic. Everybody's divided. Everybody's doing shows against each other in a crazy sense. It's like everybody beefing now in a weird, crazy way. So it is crazy. There's a lot going on right now. And I've been going out through the sector, looking at different content creators and their perspective about it, as well as me having my personal perspective about the whole situation too. All right. There has been one key component that I have picked up on by me looking at the various content creators. All right. Now, these content creators that I'm gonna be preferably talking about tonight is gonna be these gentlemen: MTR, the lead attorney, Acidia, and Anton Daniels. All right. The reason why I'm going to be talking about these gentlemen is because all four of these gentlemen had a certain perspective about this whole situation with just pearly things. All right. And also, these four gentlemen had they came to a conclusion. Okay. Now, all four of these gentlemen on their respective podcasts, right, they came to a conclusion that they pretty much forgive just pearly things about what she said on her podcast. Okay. That was their conclusion. And there are some other one conclusions that they had drawn out as well too. And today I'm going to really dig into that, break it down. Now I got videos that I'm going to share with y'all. I'm not going to share Obsidian video, nor I'm not going to share MTR video for time purposes, because it's their videos long. But what I will be sharing, I will be most definitely sharing a video from Anton Daniels from his show when he was addressing the just pearly thing situation, and also the lead attorney too. Then I got a couple of bonus videos that I'm going to share as well too with y'all too. So it's a lot. We're gonna unpack a whole lot tonight. All right. And just like I said, I'm not gonna rush this. I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna do my best to articulate this to the best of my ability. All right. So the top of this show tonight is, why is it when men who are educated, right? Preferably these men and other men as well too that I have listened to on their respective podcasts, and also, in the chat saying, there are other men who actually jump on their panels as well too, express the same sentiments and stuff, right? So why is it? Why is it when men become educated, they be more acceptable to things that's dealing with racism? What do I mean by that? What I mean is that, why is it that when these men become, or any type of men become more educated, right? Why is it that they pretty much dismiss racism like it's something that never existed ever? Today on this podcast, I'm gonna prove to you the reason why they are like this. Okay, I'm prove to you the reason why. But like I say, we're gonna break this thing down. I'm gonna take my time and we're gonna break this thing down. All right, we're gonna break it down. But before I get to my conclusion on this, all right, the first video that I'm gonna share with y'all is gonna be with Anton Daniels. All right, we're gonna view Anton Daniels' perspective about just pearly things. Okay, and I'm gonna give you commentary and stuff. Normally, I would like let the video go, then I go back and play it. But since we got a lot to cover today, I'm just gonna be going ahead and give you my perspective as the video plays. Okay. Shout out to everyone who's on tuning in to tonight, by the way, who's watching the live broadcast right now, or you're going to catch the replay. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all. All right. So let's go to work. Let's go to work. Let's hear what Anton Daniels had to say, first of all, about this particular situation. All right.
Talking about than I was, because I certainly was not an expert in any of the stuff that he was talking about.
When I bring people on my platform, shout out to B. Taylor. I see you in the chat. Guess what, B. Taylor? I already know that the overwhelming majority of the different points in which we stand on is the complete opposite. As a matter of fact, I look for people not that just agree with me, which I don't really care for her reason is, because I don't really think that she needs to justify why she brought somebody on in order to have a conversation. However, most of the people that I look to have a conversation with is some that I actually just have an interview with where I just want to get their thoughts.
Now, so far, what Anton is doing, Anton is trying to justify her just pearly thing reasoning for why she said what she said. And so far, his stance is that no one cannot tell her who she can or can't bring onto her platform. Okay. So let's continue to listen, and I'm going to give you my perspective further.
Regardless of whether they agree with me or they disagree with me, I just want to see what you got to say about it. And then there's people that I bring into the studio, for example, that I do on Friday and Saturday nights that I actually want to have a conversation with that may disagree with me, because I think it makes for a better product that you then put out, not only for entertainment, but for educational purposes. Because they could be wrong and I can change their mind, or I could be wrong and I can change my mind, right? Patriarchy come on the platform all the time and he say, Anton, you got to get Nick Fuentes. And I'll be like, I'm not interested in talking to Nick Fuentes. Not because of where he stand on a specific issue, but because I just have no interest in him as a person. He is not a person personally that I feel as though I can get the type of information that I need out of him. Maybe I'll change my mind. But if I decide to have Nick Fuentes on the platform, then that's what I'm going to do. And
see, even with his conversation, right? His particular conversation, he's contradicting himself now. And one moment, he's saying that, hell, we shouldn't judge. Whoever you want to have on your platform, you can have on your platform. Who are we to judge? Then he go back and say, well, when I do have people on my platform, I do it for two reasons. I do it because I just want to hear their particular thought about a situation, or I do it pretty much for clout purposes. That's pretty much what you were saying. So here's my question on this, okay? If that be the case, if that be the case, even with Pearl Attention, right? What if Pearl Attention was to bring this dude on here for not only educational purposes, but what if her attention was there to create clout like she's doing right now? What if that was her intentions to doing that? There also another thing too that I want y'all to understand is that the whole situation isn't about her literally bringing Nick onto her platform. The whole situation is about what was said while he was on her platform. That is the situation. Then on top of that, right, it's the justification of it. Instead of taking accountability, instead of Pearl taking accountability for that, she was justifying it. She was justifying it the whole entire time. Talking about, well, maybe I should have did this and I should have did that. But she was justifying the whole situation. That's why a lot of people are giving her pushback the way that they are doing right now. It's because of her justification. And to be honest with you, like he's Anton, he's showing her apology video. To be honest with you, I'd seen her apology video, and I'm just gonna be real about it. Her apology video was just another form of her trying to create more clout. I'm gonna be real about it. I honestly believe that she wasn't even sincere with her apology. I believe that she felt that she was right in her mind to, wherever it happened would happen, because at the end of the day, she did it for clout. It wasn't for no educational purpose. She did it for clout. She knew that it was going to create a situation. She knew that, but she's not admitting that. And that's what's creating all this pushback.
Ain't nobody in this world that's going to tell me differently if that's what I want to do. Who are you? Who are you to tell somebody else what to do with their platform? You can go and have all of the blackety blacks that you want on your platform and only do that. You can do that all day long.
Now, once again, let me clarify myself again. Now, once again, I do agree with what he's saying, that no one cannot tell you as a content creator who you can or can't have on your platform, okay? I do agree with that. But at the same time, by being a content creator, you have to have enough common sense to know that if you bring a certain person onto your respective platform, right, you have to have enough common sense to know that whatever the topic that y'all talking about is going to create some type of clout, which at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? But once again, just like I say, it's not the point that she brought him on the platform. It's the whole point that she brought him on there to create this type of clout and controversial content. And she's not admitting that was her intentions. That's where it's boiling down to.
And guess what? That's your prerogative. If you didn't care about her, then why are you watching what it is that she's doing and then getting so upset about what it is that she is putting out to the people? Don't watch. Don't subscribe. Don't rock with her.
Now, that's another thing, too. I actually have to agree with Anton, too, is that there are a lot of people out here who are really seriously upset about this. They are so triggered about this. It's people out here who are subscribers, who view the content and stuff, and they the super triggered. It is content creators out here as well, too, who are super triggered about this. Now, I do have to agree that if this situation puts you into the space where you are this triggered, then yeah, you don't need to be watching the content. Because to be honest, I'm one of them people who is not subscribed to just Pearly Tang. The only time I mention or do reviews about Miss Pearly Tang, if situations like this happen, and I'm doing it for clout. You see, Miss Pearly Tang, you see how easy it was for me to admit that I'm doing it for clout? Every show that I do, every show that I review, every show that I do, it is for clout because I'm a content creator. It's what we do. It is what we do. It's part of the job. It's part of the business. So I don't understand why is that so hard to just admit that. But yeah, it's people out here who are they're the super triggered about this. Like it is to like me personally. They're like say I don't care. I don't care because at the end of the day, I don't know this woman. Even if I did knew this woman, I still wouldn't care because it's not that serious to me. But at the same time, I understand from the other end of the coin why people will be upset about this, especially people of color. I understand why. It's because it's been disingenuous, and it honestly do appears that she have a colonizer mindset. Just be real about it. But we're gonna get deep into this. We're gonna dive deep into it.
I did remove the interview. I, again, did not.
Is this woman a god to y'all? No, I just got a genuine question. Is this woman a god to y'all? She's cool with me. I wouldn't call her a friend, but it is definitely a person that I've had multiple different conversations to. She's added value into my life behind the scenes, gave me some game. I gave her, hopefully reciprocated and gave her some game. We didn't kicked it in person. She done met my wife. We done been in the same spaces together. I done been to her places. She done been to my places. I wouldn't call her a friend, but she's definitely a person that I'm connected. Why is she a god to y'all?
Okay, let's talk about this too, because this is going to be my main focal point of this whole entire one podcast. All right. The main focal point is not what you're talking about her being a god, which, let's be real, there are men in the black manosphere who literally do worship this woman, who find no wrong in this woman, find that what she's doing is okay, which is the whole purpose of the show tonight. But that's not the main focal point. The main focal point is this. Notice what Anton said. He said, well, you know what I'm saying? Well, I met her and stuff like that. You know, she cool. She met my wife. You know, we do business transactions together. So therefore, in my mind, I feel like that she don't have a colonizer mentality, nor I don't feel like she's racist because she's cool with me. And this is going to be the whole focal point because Anton is not the only one who said this. MTR has said this. The lead attorney has said this too, which we're going to review him in a few minutes. And Obsidian has said the same exact thing too. Well, we're just cool with her. You know, we kicked it together, we hung out and ate lunch at a fancy restaurant, and you know, we exchanged business transactions and ventures together and stuff. You know, I put her on to some certain stuff about YouTube. She put me on to some certain stuff about YouTube. We networked together and we did all these things. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see what the problem is because my experience is that she never treated me wrong. So we cool. So therefore, there's nothing wrong with her. And this is the rebuttal that all four of these gentlemen are using. And by these four gentlemen using this rebuttal, that's the reason why these four gentlemen are getting the pushback that they are getting right now. It's because of this. It's because of the insensitivity of the situation. Because once again, I understand where other people are coming from when they say they believe that she's a colonizer. I understand it. Based on her behavior, based on things that I have personally seen in her content, how she do either direct or indirect subtle colonizer phrases in situations in her content. So I could sympathize with that. Let me put it to y'all this way too. When we was going through the C19 situation stuff, right, and when I was on Facebook, right, I had put out a video that went viral. I mentioned this before, but I put out a video that went viral, right? where I was reviewing this young man who got pulled over by the one police officer. And this when we was going through this whole Black Lives Matter and police brutality thing. Strong, okay? Deep in it. But this young man, he got pulled over by officer and stuff, right, because his tax was up. In that video, I was telling people that, hey, I never had that type of experience where an officer was that aggressive to me like that. Where the officers were being aggressive, they was trying to yank me out the car and, calling me the N-word and doing all, because I never had that type of experience. Because whenever these type of situations happen to me personally, I knew that I was in the wrong. I knew that either I was speeding or my insurance wasn't up to par, stuff like that. I knew that. So what I did is that I took accountability for that. Even if I got a ticket for it, I didn't argue with the officer, nothing like that. I didn't argue with them. I didn't cuss them out. I didn't make no huge scene or nothing like that. I just took the ticket as a man because I made a mistake. In that video, I told them that I made a mistake. I went up to the precinct, whatever, and got the ticket dismissed. It was that simple. So that's why I was explaining back in the day, trying to tell people that. But a lot of black people got so upset at me for saying that because they wanted me to side with them. They wanted, since we was dealing with this whole police brutality thing, they wanted me to side with them to say that our police are bad. But they didn't want to take accountability for their personal actions regarding the situation. Even when I challenged them and debated them, they didn't want to take personal accountability for their personal actions involving that. Now, are there police officers who are literally like that, who resembles, colonized behavior and racism? Absolutely it is. I never denied that. Never denied it. But at the same time, I was being sympathetic because just because I haven't had that particular experience, that doesn't mean that it's like that for everyone. And that's the issue. What people are giving these four gentlemen the pushback about. It's the insensitivity behind it. It's the whole point that they feel like because they haven't had an experience with Pearl, that it's okay. And everyone should shut up. There's nothing wrong with this woman. But they being insensitive for the simple fact that there was others who had this type of experience or similar experiences, and people are talking about it and speaking out about it, and people trying to tell these educated fools that it happens. It exists. And all people are asking for them to do is to at least be sympathetic about it. Have some empathy. Just the same way these gentlemen want the people to have sympathy and empathy for Pearl and the mistake that she made. The people are asking the same thing. We want you to have sympathy and empathy for what she did. Because it bothered us. Because some of us have experienced that. Some of us have experienced where this white lady pretending to be cool with you because you have a similar interest, because your business partners and stuff, right? Then the next moment she turned your back on you because she feel like that you are no longer a use, for the simple fact that in her colonizer mentality she have a superiority complex. She feels that she's superior over you, but you don't know that because you being all cool and kind and all this stuff, but you don't know that until it actually happened to you. Now, situations like that, I have experienced that. Because the type of person that I am, right, I'm cool with everybody, regardless of what race, ethnicity you are. I'm cool. Long as you treat me with respect, I would treat you with respect. But at the same time, doesn't negate the fact that I never had that type of particular experience, which I have. I had that particular experience several times. Where either if it's not a white woman, it's a white man who pretend that they cool with you, but when it come down to it, they believe that they're superior over you, and you don't know it until you're too late. And that's what people are talking about.
Do y'all hold her in such high esteem to where it actually sits with you at night when you cut off the internet or you cut off YouTube, or that you can't say, don't recommend this channel to me? Is it that meaningful to you? Because I thought that we were supposed to spend our energy on the things that actually mattered to us, not being outraged about people that's irrelevant to you. You spend the time building with the people that you actually care about, not spending time trying to focus on people that you don't, right?
And also, I got called cap on Anton about this too. I just got called cap on him. And Anton, bro, even though I respect your platform, I really do. It's like how these gentlemen down here, I honestly respect their platform for real, from one content creator to another. But I got the call cap on this dude. A couple of weeks ago, this dude up here had a straight argument with this dude, and the argument was so bad that he had to do episodes about this. This dude had an argument on this dude off of the Pete Network, and this other dude's been there. Which the dude, he was being disrespectful as hell, but you were too, Anton. Let's be real about it. You was too. And let's be even more real about it. One thing I know about Anton is by me viewing his content off of Lapeef, and also, reviewing his own content on his personal channel too. Anton is an instigator for real. Anton be sitting up here provoking people. Let's be real about it. Let's have a accountability moment. Anton be provoking people to strike up a conversation. Now, remember what he said earlier. He said he invite people onto his platform for two reasons: to be educated and to be informed, right? To hear what people got to say. And the other part is for straight clout purposes. It been plenty of times where Anton and JR have invited people onto the Lapeef Network not for educational purposes, but for straight clout, because they knew they was going to get straight clout, because they knew straight clout and controversy and beef creates ratings. They know that. Especially he know that. And his response behind that was that he's a businessman. That was his response by it. I'm a businessman, I do what the one business say, people just like beef and stuff like that. Then the next moment, he had the same dude on there and they going back and forth arguing again. So you cannot tell me, Anton, that throughout the whole situation, you was just acting, you was just pretending. No, you was really invested into that dude. What about the a couple of weeks prior before that, the woman that you had on there that you literally went off on? Was that part of the clout? Was it part of the entertainment, or were you really vesting into that woman behavior where it pissed you out so much so that you literally stopped the whole entire show and did almost like a 20-minute rant talking about this is your feelings of how you feel about black women? I mean, let's be real about it. Let's be honest. So therefore, if Anton is having these type of experiences, then why is it not okay for other people to have these type of experiences too with Pearl? And all of this is based on the disagreement. Just like on Anton's show, these dudes come up here and it was a disagreement. So why is it okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for everybody else to feel the same way? So I'm just saying that I'm calling cap on you, bro. Just being real.
I could be wrong. Let me continue to play this.
Think through a lot of the repercussions of posting that, so I just removed it. If you do want to see the full interview, Obsidian did react to it. That's on his channel.
And that's another thing too. And I didn't mention this last time, and that's another telltale sign too, where if you know what you know, then you're gonna stand in your circle about what you know. You're not going to digress from what you don't well know. Okay. Meaning that if she feel like this whole situation was justifiable for her bringing, Nick on her, and that she was and she said all the things about that being caring and all the stuff, and she agreed to that, right? And that's her mindset. Then stand on your circle about that. You don't have to delete nothing. They're like say, from one content creator to another, I say a lot of crazy stuff that people don't agree with. I'm not deleting my video because I said what I said. I don't care how people feel about it. It be people coming into my chats saying all kind of crazy stuff. And guess what? I don't care because it's my content. I'm not going to delete it. I said what I said. If you don't agree, oh well, so. But when you do things like that, it shows people that you honestly was not being sincere. And you're not standing your ground about what you believe in.
The intention was not, I guess, to hide it. It was just, this might not have been the best move. I'm just going to remove it now. So again, racism has no place in society, and I do take accountability for bringing him on.
Even that line right there where she's saying racism don't have no place in society, that is a textbook line that, all of them use so people will feel sympathetic for them.
Hindsight's always 20/20. I wrote down some of the complaints that people had. So if I look this way, it's just because I made bullet points of everyone's concerns and I'm just addressing them. Okay. My Africans, that part. So in the heat of the conversation, I made some remarks to my producer, Blessing. Now, Blessing is a godsend. Okay, Blessing has made the production quality literally phenomenal. He's so talented. And during this conversation, we were talking about immigration. And I said, I'm trying to get my Africans to America. Now, I watched it back, guys. It was so cringy. Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. I meant my African employees. I just said Africans. The reason is because, why wouldn't you just say my employees or whatever to America? The African passport system is just more difficult than the UK one.
Before she get into this whole rant about trying to justify her by saying that, right? This is another one telltale sign where people are giving her pushback about having a I can't even say it, having a supremacist mentality. This is the reason why people are saying this, okay? It's because she literally placed the ownership of people that she don't even own. But the only reason why she's saying it, right, is because she believes that she owns them. Which I'm going to prove to you why. She honestly believes in her mind that she owns them. And that's why she said, my Africans. Because in her mind, she literally believed that she owns them. For real. And I'm going to show you later on why. Because if that be the case, she wouldn't refer to them as my Africans. She will refer to them as their respected name or their performance name or whatever and stuff. She will refer to them as their names. See, even in business, right? Even in business, the managers, the CEOs and stuff like that, at least they have enough common sense to have respect for their employees. And the reason why is because if they don't have respect for their employees, then it is going to be a civil complaint filed against them. This is the reason why they use these business use a system of calling people Mr. So-and-so, Mr. Urban, Mrs. Pearl, whatever. They use this system for that reason, so they won't get a civil complaint filed against them, because it shows a form of respect. And most of all, it shows that they are not being owned by anyone. At least that's the image that they want to portray. All right. So that's why they're saying that. That's why they're having pushback on this. You know what? A matter of fact, I'm not what's gonna do is I'm just gonna go and show y'all this. All right. This is the reason why she's saying my employees. All right. I'm just gonna go and jump into it. I'm just gonna go with the flow of the show. All right. This is the reason why she's saying this. All right, my employees, and then we're gonna get back to this. All right. I'm gonna show you the reason why. I'm going to bring up her African, at least one of them. All right. I'm gonna bring up at least one of them who used to be her African employee. So let's hear what this gentleman had to say. And he's going to explain to you this whole concept about why she's saying this.
Comes a time when we're all at a crossroad and have to make a decision. And sometimes that decision can affect you morally, it can affect you spiritually, and it can affect you financially. But it's a decision that we can't shy away from. Now, recently, Just Pearly Things has been caught up in some controversy. Why? She has interviewed avid racist and known racist Nick Fuentes. He is also an anti-Semite. What did Pearl do when she interviewed him? What she done is that she laughed with him and seems to agree with a lot of his points.
Talk about instances of like when they initially freed the slaves, there were some slaves that felt so indebted to their owners that they would travel across states to pay them back, and they actually had a really good relationship with them.
Now, if she had said some of these things about the Jewish community, she would have been cancelled in a hot minute.
That's facts.
Ask Kyrie Irving. Ask Kanye West. Now, this isn't about the Jewish community. This is about us. Okay? And so after that interview, Pearl decided to make an apology video, which was, in my personal point of view, disingenuous and a PR stunt. And all in all, it came from a place of deception.
Mm-hmm. Guys, people say that stuff about me. They say I'm sexist. They say I'm a misogynist. And, you know, I really just like to give people the benefit of the doubt when I interview them. I don't go into interviews trying to interrogate someone. I just more try to listen and see where they're coming from. In hindsight, that wasn't smart. And
now, y'all just hear what she said. She just said the same exact thing that Anton said. Same exact thing. Reason why she said the same exact thing is because they had a conversation about this. Reason why she's saying the same exact thing is because they gave her clip notes to what to say. So let's continue.
in hindsight, I should have had someone, you know, maybe Sarah Garvey, maybe another content creator that could have.
By the way, Sarah Garvey is the gentleman who's doing this right now.
Pushed back more and really was more educated on the topics that he was talking about than I was, because I certainly was not an expert in any of the stuff that he was talking about.
Now,
And I'm letting
I've been on social media for a while, and I have done interviews with the likes of Tommy Robinson, Sargon of Akkad, politicians like Lee Jasper, and also Lin May and people from the music industry like Soul Solid, Mega Man to be exact. Now, Pearl was reacting to my content prior to coming to the UK. And so when she came to the UK, I was very interested in the content that she would actually put out. And it just so happened that she was putting out content that I was interested in, similar to what the late, great Kevin Samuels actually put out. And I understand it because I myself had been embroiled in court cases and things of that nature when it comes to the mother of my son, and understand that the gynocentric order in which we live in is something that needs to be spoken about. So when she came to London, she said that she wanted to make a podcast. And I said, no problem. Okay, let's talk about it. And I decided to feature on her show. Now, when I featured on her show, because of my following in the UK, people would tune in. So essentially, I helped Pearl grow her channel. Okay, I was on there week to week, and I was working with her based on a fee. So the tragic death of Kevin Samuels happened, and there was a vacuum within the manosphere space. Who was it going to be filled by? It was actually filled by just Pearly Things, along with other content creators.
Which is
Now,
these gentlemen.
I believe that the reason why this space was filled is because Kevin Samuels had a large following of black men. And these black men were essentially fed up with the way feminism had taken over their community, specifically their women. So when he died, there was a vacuum and a lot of black men looking for content like this. And it was filled by Pearl. And I believe that Pearl rose to fame because she herself was the opposite of what those men had been seeing. She was a white woman. She wasn't the types of women that they had been seeing. And essentially, she was regurgitating Kevin Samuels' content. So I began working with Pearl, and from the beginning, I started to think that maybe this girl has a colonial mindset. Now, we all know that we don't want to be paranoid, so I kept working with her. However, the more I worked with her is the more that I saw. She had a colonial type viewpoint when it came to black people, and I had to school her a few times on what it was like to be black and the black experience, and also what slavery and colonization was actually like.
Do you think that historical catastrophes must be compensated for?
No,
No.
that's stupid.
So then, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing.
Yeah.
So then, how come there were groups of people that got compensation then?
How come?
For instance, like Jewish people, Chinese people, Japanese people with the bombs. Like there were groups of people who got compensated.
I don't know.
So it wasn't fair.
What? Well, I'm talking about like when I think about group, I think about reparations. So I mean, maybe if the people were still alive today, like I don't know, maybe. But like when you said historical, I thought you meant like at the past, not the present.
Yeah, so like in the past, so like people talk about slavery. So in the past, you know, the Holocaust happened. In the past, you know, the Japanese, but people got compensated for it.
Yeah.
There's a book, right, called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And when you read that book, you realize that the whole Industrial Revolution and stuff like that was started because of
She looking like, nigga, I ain't finna read this down nigga book.
the colonization. And you just think,
I'm sorry, that's how she look.
well, if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't be as successful.
So what do you mean by the colonization?
So the colonization of Africa, so both the people and the resources, right? There's a direct correlation between the colonization of Africa and the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
And so with all the metals and the rubber and all this kind of stuff coming from Africa, it fueled the Industrial Revolution of the West.
Wait, so you're saying like in Africa, when you say colonized, you're saying like did England come in and colonize?
Yeah, like so European, France, Spain, Portugal, England.
And they like enslaved Africans, and that's what you're saying. Okay.
So they enslaved and at least colonized the continent.
Okay.
So when you colonize a continent and then you take ownership of the resources, you're able to gather those resources together and use them to your own benefit.
Right.
And so you gather those resources, use them to your own benefit, and build up your economy, all the while messing up the economy of that actual country.
Right.
So let me stop it right here real quick. So As y'all can tell by when he was explaining this to her, right? Y'all could tell by her mannerism and stuff that, you know, in a way she was being real dismissive, but she was asking these certain questions. It wasn't because she didn't know. Once again, it wasn't because she didn't know. It wasn't because she was trying to be educated. Because she is well educated. She's well educated. Matter of fact, just like I say, since this show is going the way how it's going, once again, I'm gonna prove this to y'all about how the way she really is. All right, so I'm gonna pull up this other video too real quick, and we're gonna get back to his video. All right, we're gonna eventually get back to Anton's video, but let me pull up this other video. All right, here's another video that she did, same conversation and stuff. Right, listen to what she got to say, and look at her mannerism and stuff too while they having this conversation. All right.
Why do you think black people sold black people into the slave trade? They weren't thinking, oh, they're black, I shouldn't. They're thinking, let me get this bag.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Don't clip me.
You got clipped.
Yeah. Oh God.
Why do you think black people sold black people into the slave trade? They weren't thinking, oh, they're black, I shouldn't. They're thinking, let me get this bag.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Don't clip me.
Yeah. Oh God.
Then the crazy part about it is that this other content creator, this lady, she was just baffled that she even said that, and she didn't even know how to respond to that because she knew what she said was messed up. She knew what she said was messed up, and she just, by her being cool, she just dismissed it like, oh, it is Pearl. She don't know any better. Same as that way how these gentlemen is doing right now, where they dismissing it. So this is not the only time that Pearl then had these type of episodes. Okay. It's not the only time. So that's the reason why I'm saying that she is well educated about colonization. She's well educated about racism and everything. A matter of fact, you have to be like living under a rock to not know anything about colonization and not know anything about racism. A matter of fact, my children, right? My children attend school and they're young and they know about colonization and racism because they talk about it all the time to me. They know about it. So how is it that even young children know about this, right? But all of a sudden Pearl doesn't know about this. She does so, well, she pretended that she's so uninformed about this. And I'm going to share with you the reason why it is what it is, but not right now. Let's get back to our old boy real quick. Then we'll get back to our Anton.
Video was filmed in 2022. And in that video, what you saw was me attempting to tell Pearl and show Pearl what colonization was like. How people went to another group of people and took their resources and took what was theirs and built their empire off of it. So when Pearl now plays like she doesn't know what colonization is, and she doesn't know what slavery is, and she says these insensitive statements, in that video, I actually attempted to give her a book. It was called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. I've read it myself. She semi-dismissed that book. She kind of dismissed that book. And then she went on with herself to go and interview a man like Nick Fuentes. Pearl has Africans that work for her. Now, Nigeria has many issues. Now, the disparity in Nigeria has rich and poor people living just on the breadline. And Pearl has these types of people working for her. They edit her videos. They make her thumbnails.
So, look what I have here. This is evidence to show how hard my Americans work.
No, hold on. You forgot, yeah? This is how hard my white Americans work.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
They're very hard workers.
Yeah.
I
That's
like how
crazy.
they work. My white Americans really work hard. You see that?
They inspire us to work harder.
No. Do you know what? They don't even inspire. They're working hard for themselves, bro.
Oh, okay.
And you notice how they using the same language as what Pearl is using too, which I'm going to get into it. The reason why it's like that too. I'm trust me. I'm gonna break all this thing down. I'm gonna connect it all together for y'all towards the end. All right, but there's a reason why. There's a reason why they mind is like this. All right, and Pearl mind is like this, and these four gentlemen mind is like this too. So we're gonna get into it.
No, they're putting in a lot of work, yeah? They put in a lot of work. My white
Yes.
white Americans
You guys should
work hard.
Work hard.
Yeah, you could.
So Pearl has taken people on from Africa, which on the surface looks like a good thing. And I guess it is. Africans are being fed, they're taking money from her, they are feeding their family. Amazing. However, with a colonial mindset, this can be quite dangerous. And what happened during that interview with Nick Fuentes was that she used an age-old tactic that colonizers use, which was the divide and rule tactic. She pitted African Americans versus Africans when she spoke about how hard Africans work compared to how hard African Americans work. And she also used the term, my Africans. Much of what Pearl says is determined by her management, which she has said to me on many occasions that she shares with Candace Owens. So when you have a colonial mindset and you have a management who tell you what to say, what generally happens in my personal point of view and what I actually saw was that she began to start paying people pittance. She began to start offering contracts to people that owned them, just like a colonial master would.
Exactly. And now we're starting to slowly get into the meat of the song podcast, all right? Where he's starting to break it down and start to explain to you the reason why it is what it is. The reason why these four gentlemen and her Africans are the way that they are. It starts off with this. It starts off with a contract. Now, earlier, I was telling y'all about us who work right. And I was telling y'all that the CEO is not going to just blatantly be disrespectful to his employees because he know that that's not practical. He or she know that that's not practical for production. But what he or she would do, they would give a certain level of civil respect, which in business they call it diversity. Okay. So they'll give this level of diversity where they're showing respect to people to get the employees to work behavior-wise. But at the same time, these CEOs and stuff like that, they literally own the employer. So if you're working for someone, right, that person legally owns you. If y'all didn't know that. Let me explain this to y'all. When y'all go and look for a job, right? Do y'all know that that application is a contract? Do y'all know that? When you go through the whole process of signing in and they do an initial background check to you, then they select you for wherever position that you was applying for, right? You're entering into a legal binding contract with that said employer. This is the whole concept about what he's talking about, colonization. Because colonization still exists even to this day. Not only just in America, but this is globally around the world that everyone do the same colonization tactic, okay? Where they get people to enter into a contract, a written contract and a verbal contract. Where you look at it, you sign and you agree to all these certain standards. This is the reason why, when y'all be at work and stuff, right? And sometimes the employee, it seems like the employees is not treating you fair, and it seems like they're getting away with it. The reason why they can get away was because you had signed a contract agreement stating that you allow them to do that to you. You agreed to the terms of the agreement of that contract when you signed it. That's basically what it is.
Case in point, myself and Pearl sat down to have a conversation about me signing to her contractually. And I want to make this very clear. I have never signed to the Just Pearly Things network. I have always been an independent. Pearl has known that, and I have known that. And so anytime I worked with Pearl, we had agreed a fee, and I worked for that fee. I have never been signed to the Just Pearly Things contracts. However, she has signed a few Africans, namely King Riches and Auntie Jenny. Now, I have no problem with a King Riches or an Auntie Jenny. However, if we look at the contracts that they signed, you would understand the reason why I use the term colonization and colonial. Now, myself and Pearl sat down to have a conversation, and she expressed to me that she wanted to do a new segment for her show. In that segment, she said that she would like me to present a topical news show on a day-to-day basis. So I said, okay, no problem. Talk to me. What are we talking about? And she said she would want me within her studio 4 days per week. I said, okay, from what time? She said from 10 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. And I said, okay, well, that is 7 hours. I said, so working 4 to 5 days a week for 7 hours is essentially a day job. I said to her, okay, so what is my guaranteed fee at the end of the month? What is the salary? And she looks at me and she says, we do not do guarantees and we do not do salaries. So I said, so if you don't do guarantees and you don't do salaries, what is it that you actually do? And she said she does percentages. So I said, okay, cool. Well, what's the percentage? She said, Sarah, you're the high end, so you will get 70-30. So I said, fine, okay, let me listen. 70% goes to me and 30% goes to you. Now she looked at me and she said, no, 70% goes to me, Pearl, and 30% goes to me, Sarah Garvey. And that's when I started scratching my head. And I said, hang on a minute. So are you telling me that's a high-end contract for you? And she said, yes. And I said, so are you saying that Just Pearly Things Network has other people on low-end contracts? She said, yes. I said, King Riches and Auntie Jenny? She said, yes. I said, what's the low end? She said, it's 10 to 15%. So essentially, she could be owning 80% of the content, which is basically the monetized views on somebody's channel, and they only take home 15% of the money? She said, yes. I said, Pearl, how long are these contracts for? She said, 3 years.
Wow.
So I said, let me get this straight. You want to own me for 3 years to take 70% of my ad revenue, keep me in your studio from 10 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening for 4 to 5 days a week, and you are not guaranteeing me any money. I said respectfully, for what reason would I work for your company? She said, because we have a great studio and we have great lighting and we have great editors that will edit your stuff down. Now, I may be a lot of things, but I'm not an idiot. I may be cool, I may be calm, I may be collected, but I'm not a fool. And essentially, the colonial mindset of Pearl has people working on her quote-unquote plantation for absolute pittance, when a year ago, I suggested to her to look into exactly what colonization was, and she acted dumb.
Guys, people say that stuff about me. They say I'm sexist. They say I'm a misogynist. And, you know, I really just like to give people the benefit of the doubt when I interview them. I don't go into interviews trying to interrogate someone. I just more try to listen and see where they're coming from. In hindsight,
Same
that
thing what
wasn't
Anton
smart.
said once again.
And in hindsight, I should have had someone, maybe Sarah Garvey, maybe another content creator that could have pushed back more and really was more educated on the topics that he was talking about than I was, because I certainly was not an expert in any of the stuff that he was talking about.
Now, I grew up in a time where there were brilliant R&B girl groups like TLC, and also brilliant R&B artists like Toni Braxton. They both sold millions and millions and millions of records, but they ended up broke. Why? Contracts. They were signed to contracts that did not favor them. And essentially, what Pearl is trying to do is come back in with the same contracts and do the exact same thing to the manosphere and do the exact same thing to the red pill community. Why? Because Kevin Samuels left a gap. And Kevin Samuels' fan base was predominantly black men. And Pearl has come in there and attempted to be top of the food chain.
And I'm gonna stop it right here. We're gonna go back to him. And the reason why I'm stopping here because this is addressing Anton's question. Remember what Anton was saying earlier when he addressed the question talking about why do y'all see her as a god and stuff like that? Is she your god? This is the reason why. It's because because she had portrayed herself as being a quote unquote savior to people. She's providing certain type of resources to people as she own them and call them her Africans. So therefore, they have a God-like perspective about her. Anton. That's the reason why. And that's the reason why people are pushing back on her, because people know that obviously she's not no God or anything like that, but they know the behavior behind it. They know when a person is being bamboozled. They know when a person has been a colonizer. They know when a person have a superiority complex, have a supremacy mentality. People are not idiots. And that's the reason why these people are having this type of pushback. That's the reason why. So let's go back. We're gonna finish with Sarah in a minute, but let's go back to Anton real quick. Let's to this fool. Not we're gonna do the leader turn in 3 seconds too. Let's go back to Anton. Finish this.
I didn't know, like, Blessing had to go to the embassy or something to apply to go to America with me next month. We're gonna go do some work there, and yeah, and so I've just found that the immigration process is a bit more difficult. So that's why I referred to them, because my African employees, I needed more help with. And, I was saying in the interview that I wanted more open border policies because I wanted them to come. Again, I really respect that.
And the sad part about it is that he's listening attentively about what she's saying and how the way she said it, but in his mind, he's not accepting that at all.
African culture, I had no ill will or malice towards any of that. But it sounded absolutely awful. It was so cringy watching back. So it was stupid. It was stupid. Okay.
You got to ask yourself this question sometimes, right? It reminds me of when people say to me, you hate women. And it's like, well, if I hate them, then why am I married to one, a black woman? They say you hate black women, right? And I be thinking to myself, well, if I hate it, then why am I married to one? And why do they work for me? And why am I so connected to them? It's one thing to hold somebody accountable. It's another thing to look at it for the reality that it is. I don't know any racist person that actually hires people that they hate. Why would I put money in the pockets and y'all have no clue how much this woman is paying out? I do. Why would
Why
I
is that
put
even
money in the
relevant?
pockets of the people that I hate?
I know why it's relevant.
Honestly, why would the overwhelming majority of the people that I employ behind the scenes? We're not even talking about just the talent in front of the camera or the people that come on, because she brings on white women, black women, Hispanic women, all of this other type of stuff, right? Why would I put money in the pockets of the people that I hate? Why would I be managed by somebody that I don't like?
Now, let's answer this question, all right? Let's answer this question. Because the reason why he's asking this question, because once again, he's trying to justify Pearl's behavior. And the reason why he's trying to justify her behavior is because they have a business relationship together, and he don't want to sever that business relationship that he had with her. So he want to hold her accountable. Even when he was sitting there listening to her explain about my Africans, I could see it in this expression that he felt some type of way about that. He really did. He was cringing about, like, why she keeps referring to him as my African, like she owned him or something. Why she keeps saying that? I could see it in his eyes. He was feeling that type of way. But due to him having a business relationship with her, he just going to give her a pass on it. That's, oh, it does Pearl. But let's explain the reason why. I'm explaining to you, Anton, the reason why. The reason why is simple. It's because of survival purposes. Just like when you use the analogy, if I hate women, why am I married to a woman? It's because of survival purposes. Because common sense will tell you that we need each other to survive, especially for procreation purposes. This is the reason why even women who don't want to be with men, they go to what is known as sperm banks and stuff, right, and get themselves artificially assimilated with the sperm into their egg for survival purposes. That sperm is a part of the man who she hates. But she understands that in order for the legacy to continue for survival purposes, she had to do this. That's the reason why, Anton. That's the reason why it is people literally out here who do not like you, period. They hate you. But they're making certain business transactions, certain business moves with you for survival purposes because they know it would not be practical for their survival purposes to not do so. Let's talk about you made a point. A lot of you manosphere men, including Anton, made this point about the women and stuff, right? Talking about who built it, including Kevin Samuels, who built the infrastructures as though, who built the infrastructure as though. It was men who built the infrastructure. But guess who was working on the infrastructures? It wasn't the one higher ups who was doing it. No, they wasn't doing it. They had hired low-end people to do the work. They don't have to like them dudes who's working. They don't. They probably don't like them. But they do it. Even right now, there are people right now who are working at jobs right now where they boss, their upper level management hate them. But they tolerate them because of survival purposes of their business. They'll put up with them. And to a certain point to where they can replace them. If it get that bad where they're causing distraction and disruption in the business model, then that's when they get rid of them. Other than that, they would put up with them because they need them for survival purposes. That's the reason why. That is the reason why. Hell, all of us is on YouTube right now. We don't know who the actual CEO, owner, or YouTube is. We don't even know if that dude like us or hate us or whatever. If it's a dude, woman, whatever. But they put up with it for survival purposes because they know that they need us to make the wheel turn. That's the reason why. For survival purposes.
Curious. Genuinely curious.
Hell, I can then also me also having a business mindset too. Even though I don't like certain people, that doesn't mean I'm not going to work with them unless they just do some extreme stuff that goes against my moral compass. If they doing some stuff that goes against my moral compass, guess what? We're severing our business ties together, and it's just that simple. But other than that, I would tolerate a lot of stuff for business purposes. And a lot of y'all do that. All of us do that. So, yeah, that's the reason why.
Would you ever hire somebody that you hate?
Yep. I would. Just like he would.
Would you ever hire somebody that you hate?
Especially if that person is a really good productive worker and that person is bringing a lot to the table. Hell yeah, you will hire them. You can hate that person guts. That person could cheat on your wife. But if that person is bringing a high production to your business and it is helping your business model, you're going to promote that dude.
Talking about than I was, because
Oh, and that's the end of that. That's the end of that. So we're gonna review this video with lead attorney, then we're gonna go back to this last video, all right? Because I want y'all to hear what Lee had to say too about this situation too. And once we get through all this, then I'm going to break down all this to you, the reason why these gentlemen are the way that they are. So y'all can understand it, all right?
What
So
is your
Lee-
stance, lead attorney? Is just Burlington the racist? For me, no. No. That's the conclusion that I have come to. She's not a racist. All right. Now, why do I not think that she's racist? Did you hear what she said about your ancestors? All right. Let me explain this to you guys. And this is coming from a halfway intelligent, older 46 black man. All right, now, who am I? How have I come to this conclusion? I'm saying that she's not a racist for me. Maybe some of y'all know her better than me. Maybe some of y'all can correct me. Y'all have hung out with her, or y'all have heard a lot of things that I haven't heard her say. Let me tell you why. And I'm not saying that, everybody can have their own opinion.
And I guarantee that his reason is going to be the same reason that Anton say. I guarantee his reason is going to be the same reason that MTR are going to say. And I guarantee that his same reason is going to be the same reason that Ascendian said too. And all four of their reasons is because they have a business relationship together. But go ahead, Lee. Explain it.
You can have your opinion. Someone else can have their opinion. It's all good. I'm telling you what my little opinion is and how I came to it. Now, for you to understand why I came to this conclusion, you need to know a little something about me. I'm from the South. I don't know if you can hear that. Some people say I have an accent. Damn accent. I'm from Atlanta. A metropolitan city, an international city. We have the busiest airport in the world. How I got an accent? Some of y'all.
That's hat cap. By the way, they're one of the major busy airports in America. The airport where I'm at in Texas outrank on Atlanta, which is DFW International. So I'm just saying.
Oh, lead. I don't know. I can hear a little bit. Now, I'm not from California. I don't know what racism looks like over there. I never lived over there.
Completely
I'm not
different.
from New York. Is there racism in New York? A lot of people would say absolutely. Fine.
And what's interesting about that he mentioned about California and New York is that when I first met Mrs. Urban right now, she's from the West. She grew up in California. Okay. And so we was having a conversation talking about racism because she eventually ended up migrating down here to the South. And so when she migrated down to the South, we was having a conversation, and she was telling me that she was saying she's like, babe, look, the type of racism that y'all have to the South is way different from California. I like, well, how so? Like, she like, it's hard for me to explain and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to explain, but in California, we was more, like diverse in California. You know what I'm saying? Where, we just cool, diverse. You may have like a very small few people who, literally resemble racist behavior, but they never displayed it in front of you. But these people in the South, they just show it in their face. I'm like, yeah, because it's different in the South, because it's a lot of things that happen in the South that wasn't occurring in, either in the northern or the eastern parts of the states and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or the west, the eastern and western parts of the states, like how we dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? Totally different. Totally different. And the reason why is because in the South, right, we dealt with a lot of agriculture in the South, which is cotton and all the stuff there. So in the South, we were the one who was really influenced the Industrial Revolution. Okay. In order for that to work, they needed workers, which this is still tying in together about this workforce again. Okay. They needed workers. They needed workers who will work cheap. Just like what Pearlie doing with her Africans. But in this situation, instead of they paying them, they paid them with their lives. And they pretty much called it free labor. This is the reason why they've been having a lot of debates about the reparation things. And this is the reason why a lot of people is pushing back on Pearl, because she believed that black people don't deserve reparations. And a lot of people pushing back on her about that too. But they was doing cheap labor down here, pretty much free labor down here in the South. Okay. And the only payment that they received was food, which was pretty much scraps in their life. That's it. That's all they received. But let's continue.
I'll tell you though, racism in the South is a thing. No matter, I know it's a thing in Boston. They tried to kill Paul Pierce. They stabbed him in the face. Boston in particular was wild, man. In California, I know y'all had the Bloods and the Crips. I ain't really here to.
Yeah, even in Boston, that's where all the colonies and stuff is at. The original colonies is up there. So
much about racism over there, but it's all over the country. I'll tell you this though. If you grow up in Selma, if you grow up in Tuscaloosa, if you grow up in Valdosta, Augusta, Albany, Columbus, Americus, and you're older like me at 46, you probably know a little something about racism. Now, when I was in high school, to kind of help fix the situation that was messed up with the education, my mother entered me into an integration program. It was called Minority to Majority, or M to M. And it would bus little black kids to white schools, to nice white schools, because the schools that we had in our cities were gladiator schools. And guess who got to ride the little bus to a white school? Well, when I step off the bus, are those other students happy that we're stepping off the bus? Forget the students. Are the teachers happy that we're stepping off the bus? Are the administrators happy that we're stepping off the bus? This is in high school. Get out of high school. Where do I go? To the University of Georgia, the flagship institution of the state, and your national champions. Go Dogs! Go Dogs!
And I'm glad he's having this conversation about education and educational system, which this is going to tie all together to watch. So, method to my madness, but stay patient with me.
We're the national champions of this country. Well, let me tell you something. 35,000 white students. And the majority of these students, you guys might not know this, the majority of students at UGA are from the outer counties of Georgia. They're not from Atlanta. They're not from Fulton County. They're not from DeKalb. A few of them, yeah, but the majority of them are from the outside. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I have been in dining halls with racist white men, with racist young white women. I have been in class. I have been in groups. You know how they assign you to groups? Okay, you're going to be with these 3 people. I've talked to and had to complete assignments and had to work with racist white boys and racist white girls. If you were at UGA in the 90s, you knew racist white girls and racist white boys. And shout out to them, because everybody can have their own opinions,
Shout
just
out
like you
to
can have
them.
yours.
Hmm.
A fraternity at UGA got in trouble. Why? Because them white boys would get in the pickup truck and then go behind the crystals. They would go behind the gas stations. What were they looking for? They were looking for homeless black men. They were looking for strung out black women who needed a couple of dollars. And what would they do? They would give them a couple of dollars. And then they would put them on the back of the truck. Now, where did they take them? Do you know where they took these strung out black women and these these homeless black men who needed? They would take them back to the fraternity house. What would they do? They just let them out on the lawn. What was in the front lawn? Cotton. And they would just laugh and drink beers and watch these homeless black men pick cotton in front of their $3 million frat houses, their $4 million sorority houses, all on millage. They would just have cotton for these black men to pick for their amusement. And then that Monday, they'd be in class with me. And I know how they talked to me. I know how they looked at me. Guys, I don't know if you might not know. Maybe you're from New York or California. I can feel it in a look. In a look. Oh, you're too sensitively to say, listen. Then I went to law school. Where did I go to law school? The University of Georgia. Oh yeah, I stayed in Athens, man. I stayed there. I love Athens, Georgia. Go Dogs! In my class, in my graduating class of law school, how many of us made it out? How many black men made it out? How many black men were in my graduating class in law school? It was 3 of us. Oh, that's right. Over a class of 200, it was 3 of us. Shout out to my man BLJ. I don't even want to say his name. They be doxing him like they be doxing me. Do you think at the University of Georgia law school where it's just 3 of y'all that you might know a little bit about something, a little bit about racism from my perspective?
Mm-hmm.
You think all those professors, those old ass professors, 65, 73, 82, they remember the days. Guys, I would walk down the hallways and see the classes. You see the classes from 54. You see the classes from 63. Not one black person was in there. I was in classes with professors who remember either fondly or not so fondly the integration of the school. Why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because for me, I ain't talking about you. For me, what I've been through, which was not rough at all. Thank the Lord. Let me just hit it. I missed all of the Woolworth shit, the sit-in shit, the walking down the Selma Highway, get hit with the brick, the dogs, the German Shepherds, the damn, the water hoses. I missed all of that. Oh my God, I missed all of it. I didn't get the blatant. I got the undercover stuff. My parents, my grandparents would have loved to get the undercover stuff. I'm lucky. Yeah, I ain't complaining. Wasn't no integration program where my mom went to school. Wasn't no integration program my grandmama went to school. Black lady had 2 master's degrees. My grandmama, what integration program? Like, I mean, it was blatant. It was flagrant. I missed all of that. Right? Martin Luther King is a church right down the street. I missed all of it. I'm only 46. Why am I telling you this though? Because I have an idea of a racist white man. I have an idea of a racist white woman. I do. I've probably met more racist white men and white women than the majority of you. If you 25 or 30, don't even come over here looking at me talking about you know what racism is. And it didn't stop there. Because when I got out of law school, where am I at? I'm in the practice of law. Now I went from old ass white law professors to old ass white judges. Oh my God. Do you know what it's like to have a mediocre case, an okay case? It could go either way, and your judge is racist. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know if I've ever said this. I felt bad for some of my clients. This is when I was younger, because they hired me. Because I would get the sense every now and then that they really weren't getting a fair shake because of my skin color. Guys, judges don't need to screw you in a lot of blatant ways. They can just make one little ruling over here, one little ruling over there, one little ruling out yonder, and your case is messed up. I've got stories about racist judges and racist opposing counsel. And I don't want to say anything. It's definitely like the collusion that I have suspected over the years. everybody's all buddy, and y'all from New York, y'all are from California. Y'all might not know about the good old boy system, the good old boy network. Y'all might not know about all that.
We definitely know about that in Texas.
You might not know about it. Mm. If you come up in the South, man, it's a real thing. Or in Boston. Shout out to Paul Pierce. At any rate, what am I telling you? I'm telling you that in my head, I have an idea of what a racist white man looks like. In my head, I have an idea of what a racist white woman looks like. Does my idea of a racist white woman map cleanly onto yours? No. Why not? You haven't been through my experiences, and I haven't been through yours. Shout out to all the brothers in the military. Is there any military? Are there any older military in here that like where they were from the South? I mean, come on. You ain't ran into no racist white boy. I mean, in the military, I ain't been into the military, so you know, you the heavyweight on that. But you take some soldiers from Valdosta, you take some soldiers from Albany, from Augusta, from Columbus, from Dalton. Like, I've met some racist people. To me, Pearl is not a racist.
All right, so let's cook. All right. Now y'all remember what I was saying earlier in this podcast, right? When I was telling y'all earlier about my experience dealing with police brutality, that I was stating to y'all that I had did a show talking about that, right? And that show ended up going viral on Facebook and stuff, right? And so pretty much, long story short, once again, is that I was explaining to people that just because they had a certain experience on that doesn't mean it's my same type of experience. Okay. But however, here's the difference between me and the lead attorney. Here's the difference. The difference between me and the lead attorney is that I could sympathize and empathize with people. I can understand where they're coming from. Meaning that I'm not going to pander the situation. I'm not going to say that the situation is absolutely wrong and you should agree with what I'm saying. No. Not at all. Because once again, I know that it's officers out there that that do police brutality. Many officers have been tried and put in jail because of it. Yes, it's out there. It exists. Yes. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to sit up here and just make people feel foolish and wrong about what they see. This is basically what lead attorney is doing right now. He drove up this whole little scenario about his experience with dealing with, racist people. Am I saying that he's wrong for his experience? No, not at all. Not at all. But also, and I'm very, very, very shocked behind this with lead attorney too, is especially him being in the South. Because by being in the South, lead attorney should also understand this, that it is a two type of people out there, two levels of people being racist in the South. There are two levels of it. The first level is what he's talking about, where they are blatant racists, where you could just see it on their face. Just like I stated earlier, when me and Mrs. Irvin was having that conversation, she said the same exact thing. Like, man, I just see it on people that they just messed up out here. Yeah, that's one part of it, but it's another part of it that he didn't mention. of it. The other part is how Pearl is. We're not blatant with it. Where they way more subtle with it. Where they way more strategic with it. Y'all remember that movie Get Out, right? I'm pretty sure y'all remember it. With old boy right here. Y'all remember the movie Get Out? Pretty sure y'all do. This dude was dating a white girl, right? For whatever reason. Maybe he was dating that white girl because he was literally attracted to her, or he was dating her because he got tired of black women and he wanted to do something different. Which normally does, me being a sociologist, right, and me understanding behavior, especially cultural behavior, right. In most cases, the reason why people do that, why people have interracial relationships, isn't because of attractiveness. It's because of their experience with their said race and culture that they coincide in. Now, if they had a bad negative experience and they feel like that said group is not beneficial for them, they'll digress from their group and go toward another group because in their head they thinking that this group is better for them. Now they could sit up here and cap and lie and tell me, well, I was just initially attracted to them not because of the color of their skin, but it's just because of who they are. And, they could cap on that, but ultimately, every person who's part of interracial relationship is because they had some type of negative experience with their current race or culture. And they feel like that it's going to be they'll have a better chance of being part of this new said group because they feel like this new said group is not going to give them the same type of experience. That's where it boils down to. I'm mentioning this because of the movie Get Out, all right? Because I believe in his mind, that's why he dated that white girl. He said he dated this white girl for a while. They went to school together and all the stuff there. They had all these different experiences. She had sex with him, all these different things happening and stuff, right? Thought he knew everything about her. And he believed that just through her actions, she didn't have no type of colonistic behavioral mentality whatsoever because she hid it so well. But lo and behold, within the movie, as the movie progresses and stuff, right? Lo and behold, she had a colonistic mentality. She had a racist mentality because her whole family had that same type of behavior. Her whole family. So this is the second form of it. It's two levels to it. It's the one where they're blatant with it, and it's the one where they're more subtle with it. They're subtle with it because, just like I stated earlier, because common sense is that for survival purposes, they will tolerate you for survival purposes. That's what I was talking about Anton, that for survival purposes, they'll tolerate you until they get what they need out of you. It's like on the movie Get Out. For survival purposes, they tolerate black people until they got what they need out of them, which is to have their culture evolve, to keep their culture going. That's basically the whole theme of that movie. How they're very subtle with it. And one thing I see in Pearl, just by her actions and her behavior, is that that's what she does. She's subtle with it. She's just like that girl on that movie Get Out. Her behavior resembles that girl to the T, where she be cool with you because she's trying to get something out of you. But once when it's all said and done, out of there. She ain't gonna no longer want to she won't no longer want to have things for you. It's like that's the reason why she keep referring to, instead of calling the people that she work with her co-workers, she don't even call them her co-workers. That's the crazy part about it. She don't even call the people that she work with her co-workers. She called them my Africans, and she called them that for that reason. That is a colonistic behavior. Colonistic mentality. They know it. All these gentlemen, they know that. But yet it's still they want to pander it. Yet it's still they just want to believe the latter. They're like, oh my God, this can't be true. This can't be true. Now I really want to continue with lead video, but for time purposes, I want to show y'all this too, because I said I was going to break this thing down for y'all. All right. Now here's the reason why these gentlemen are the way that they are, why they believe the way that they believe. Even with the Africans that work with Pearl, here's the reason why they believe in what they believe. Now, there's a certain part in this movie, Get Out, right, where this gentleman, as you see the scene where he's crying at, y'all remember that scene where he was having tears and stuff, right? He felt like he was trapped in his mind, right, by the mom. And guess what that mom was using? That mom was using psychology to trap that dude's brain. Why is this important? Why is this important? The reason why it's important is because this is the same exact thing what Pearl is using on all these gentlemen, which is psychology, to trap these dudes' mind and all these other simp dudes in this manosphere mind. Let me introduce y'all to something, all right? And this is something that I study, in my studies as being a sociologist. Let me introduce y'all to this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to organizational behavior. Let me get a lead off the screen real quick. Let me introduce y'all to organizational behavior. This is a study that us as sociologists was required to learn as part of our curriculum. Now, regular psychologists and stuff, right? They deal with, the person deal with people individually, behavior and stuff, right? But for us as sociologists, what we deal with cultural behavior. Okay. Now, the whole theory of organizational behavior is this. It's the study of human behavior in the organizational settings. It's the interface between human behavior and the organization itself. Organizational behavior research can be categorized in three ways. Individual, which is in the micro level. Work group is in the meso level. And how organizations behave, which is in a macro level. The reason why I'm presenting this to y'all tonight is because this is exactly what this woman is doing to not only these gentlemen right here, but to the whole entire manosphere. That's what she's doing. Every business organization that you know of deals with organizational behavior. Every job that y'all didn't ever work with uses these principal organizational behavior. Every company. Every person who's a CEO, who's part of this colonizational behavior, right? All of them use organizational behavior. Hell, I would even say this is that a lot of them are just like me, who are sociologists, where we study the behavior of the group. Now, there's a gentleman named Chester Bunner, right? He recognized that individuals behave differently when acting in their organizational role than when acting separately from the organization. Organizational behavior researchers study the behavior of individuals primarily in their organizational role. One of the main goals of organizational behavior research is to revitalize organization theory and develop a better conceptualization of organizational life, meaning that organizational behavior deals with controlling the group mind. Remember now, so I'm telling y'all about people who have this group mind or hive think mind. This is where this research comes from. It's where this research comes from. All of this deals with psychology. The key component that I want y'all to understand is this: if we could get y'all to like us or even love us, then we pretty much got you. Say it again. If we could get y'all to either like us and love us, then we pretty much got you. This is what they do in the business world. Hey, y'all ever wonder why, when y'all work at these jobs and stuff, right? They do certain subtle things for you to keep you going, to keep you employed. Now, obviously, you know what I'm saying, everybody's there because of survival. Like I stated earlier, the reason why people are there because of survival purposes. That's given. But the reason why people stay at these said companies is based on organizational behavior. Now, once again, have y'all ever wonder why your company have, like motivational Mondays? Your company throw like a subtle appreciation dinner or something for you? Hey, y'all ever wonder why your company every once in a blue moon give you like about a 10% raise? Hey, y'all ever wonder the actual reason why? It's not because, you're a great worker. No, it don't have nothing to do with that. The reason why it's like that is because of the business model of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. That's where it boils down to. Once again, if they could get you to like them and love them, then they got you. And this is the reason. This is actually the reason why Pearl and her, as she say, Africans love her. Is because she did that little subtle thing to help improve their way of life. And so they love her. Even when they see the signs of her having this type of behavior, they're not going to go against it because they love her. Even with these gentlemen right here, right now, MTR, Anton Daniels, lead attorney, Acidia. The reason why they're not going to see the truth about this matter is because she had did a subtle thing for them to love her, which in this particular case with these gentlemen is that she ended up networking with them. She shared her resources and they share theirs. And they are networking together and they don't want to sever that connection or that bond that they have, which is a business transactional bond that they have. And so this is the reason why they're going to back for it. And this is the reason why all of them say the same exact thing, which is what they said. I don't see no reason. I don't see nothing wrong with her. The times that I spent with her when they barely know her, right? The times that I spent with her business-wise, she was cool. We share resources together, and she was cool. What type of person who would be racist and the supremacist or whatever stuff, right? What type of person would do that? They'll want to share their resources with us. I just don't understand that. The reason why you don't understand it is because even though y'all gentlemen understand basic business model and principle, y'all don't understand the psychology behind business model and principle. But they do. They do. And also, the reason why these gentlemen, right? The reason why these gentlemen is also the so protective over Pearl is because of their educational background. Remember when I was on telling y'all earlier about my children and stuff right now where they know a lot about racism and stuff like that, but what the part that I didn't mention and stuff right that I'm going to mention right now is this. They are in these educational systems and stuff, right? They are doing their very best to protect the behavior of their ancestors, meaning that they are indoctrinating the children to believe that their ancestors, they did what they did with our ancestors was the best planned course of action, and there's nothing wrong with it. Hence the reason why these gentlemen and other people just like them believe that slavery was not as bad. It's because of the indoctrination. The reason why I know about this is because, like I said, I went to on the higher level. I went to post education and stuff too. I was part of a liberal arts school while I'm attaining my knowledge as being a sociologist. And part of the curriculum, another part, besides this organizational behavioral curriculum that I was required to learn, another curriculum that I was required to learn was this. It's called ethnic studies, where we study the culture of minorities. Once again, we was required to study the culture of minorities, not just people, but minorities. Why is this important? Why I'm telling y'all this? The reason why I'm telling y'all this is because we have to study this because part of this is part of the indoctrination where they want you to believe that it's something wrong with the one culture of ethnic people and stuff, where something wrong with the culture of minorities. Throughout this whole study, it talks about the history of it. It talks about how their philosophy, their culture, anthropology, everything doesn't correlate with the core principle of our country, and we need to get control of it. That's what it talk about. And so the best way to get control of it is to study it. And the best way to get control of it is to indoctrinate the people who are learning it. Each and every last one of these gentlemen, I kid you not, if they're educated and they are degreed, I guarantee that they had to go a course in ethnic studies. I guarantee that because it's a part of a requirement. It don't matter what path you go. It don't matter if you're a lawyer. It don't matter if you're a businessman. It don't matter. Hell, you could be a doctor. You have to study this particular curriculum, and it's important because this type of curriculum is part of the indoctrination. The reason why these gentlemen are like this right now is because they've been indoctrinated. They've been indoctrinated, or you could say this, that they, just like the movie Get Out with the one mom, trapping this dude and stuff, right? they indoctrinated or trapped these men into believing that the current culture is what's acceptable. And any other one culture that doesn't correlate with the current culture or the current plan is unacceptable. This is the reason why the whole Black manosphere exists the way it is. This is the reason why I talk down on these beta male simps. It's because they've been indoctrinated. They've been indoctrinated to believe that there's really something wrong with the women and stuff when it's really them. It's really them too. Now, keep in mind that it's women who also been indoctrinated the same thing. So, because it don't matter. It don't matter if you're a man or woman, if you have to go through this. You have to learn this part of psychology. Then to top it off with stuff, right? They changed the curriculum of the textbook so much around, especially historical evidence and stuff like dealing with slavery and stuff like that. They had changed around so much so where they're making it to where slavery was a choice. They're making it to where slavery was needed. And they do that to indoctrinate these people, these men and women, so you won't have any pushback. So you'll be acceptable. So you could settle for that bare minimum, just like what Pearl doing with her, as she said, alleged Africans, where she allowed them to settle for the bare minimum. And Anton and the lead attorney, and I heard a Cinean say this too as well too. They mentioned about Pearl's pocketbook, where they literally pocket watching her. She got this money, she got that, she's this and that and that. Wonder have these gentlemen ever thought about why she allowed them to see her pocketbook? It's a reason behind that. The reason behind that is because of the indoctrination is part of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. It's part of organizational behavior. If I could get you to believe in what I believe and believe that what I'm doing is in the best interest for you, I got you. You'll believe anything. Regardless of what the people are saying, you'll believe anything. But this is the reason why they're in the condition that they're in right now. This is the reason why these gentlemen are defending this woman to the best of their ability. But unfortunately, it's going to happen. And she already have resembled it before. Hell, she was on the one live with the lead attorney a couple of days ago saying that she was going to display wrath for anyone who push back against her. Now, if she was so innocent and stuff, right? Why would she go on her, out of all pages, she'll go on her IG. And I noticed this too, that this is the trend what people do. I remember when I was doing the review of, what's that damn girl name who's pregnant now? Ella Soul, yeah. I remember when I was doing the review on Ella Soul and stuff, right? She do the same as that thing. Well, she'll be on YouTube at one moment, but she'll go on, when she want to say some fucked up stuff, she'll go onto her IG and go IG live or whatever, or post on her IG and stuff. Same as that thing what Pearl did with hers. She did the same as that thing. Went on IG, so her talking noise, Lee was on her. Talking noise, talking about she gonna exact vengeance and wrath and all this stuff for everybody who's coming against her. Then she was up here talking about if you're not up there where she at, where she got 1 million subs, she ain't gonna even address you and all kind of dumb stuff. Why would she say that? The reason why is because of her nature, her behavior. But yet and still, even though these gentlemen see the signs, and she was talking about doing all this, and Lee did a show, and he's on pushing back and telling her like, man, you know, I recommend you not doing that. But guess what? Guess what? If she feel the need, she's gonna do it. Guess what? She's gonna do it. She's absolutely gonna do it. So it comes to a point in time, gentlemen. It comes to a point of time in your life to where you don't have to really, really think and choose what you need to do. These gentlemen, they say it on their platform, their respective platform, that at the end of the day is all about money. Money, money, money. But I was taught, especially by my father, God bless his soul, but I was taught by my father that not all money is good money. I was also taught out of everything that happened, you know, even as a man, you have to maintain your integrity, your moral compass, or whatever that is. So my thing is this, gentlemen, is money is the only thing that's going to control you, even when you know things is wrong, and yet you're still going to do it anyway because of money, because you want to chase the bag. Or do you gentlemen actually have a moral compass that lets you differentiate between the two? That's where it boils down to. And to top it off, and this is the reason why I say that every last one of these black Negroes in this black manosphere are beta male simps, all of them, to me, are beta male simps, is because they lack integrity, they lack leadership. And then they want to talk all this noise, talking about the modern day woman ain't doing this, the modern day woman ain't doing that. But when it comes down to it, y'all not even in y'all respective roles as being men, as leaders, for them to even follow you to do what's right. These men having all this old beta male energy, all this beta male feminine energy and stuff, and yeah, you want to talk noise to the woman with all this energy. And hell, what would you expect the woman to do? She's looking for you for leadership and guidance, and you acting like her. And so guess what's going to happen? Through evolution, she had to evolve to protect herself. So that's why these women be having this masculine energy, because these men be having feminine energy. That's where it boils down to. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to have a conversation about that. We want to blame each other, victim blame every single time. Why looking at this woman like Anton say, is she your God? Yes, she's your God. She is. If you can't sit up there as a man and call her out for her behavior, then yes, she's a God to you. You're worshiping her. Absolutely you are. Absolutely you are. So it comes to a point in time where you got to want to stand up for what you believe in. And they got to be well beyond money. Because like I say, money comes, money goes. Business comes, business goes. But what's left is your moral compass, your integrity behind it. So this is my particular review of this, and just like I say, this was gonna be a very long show. Like I didn't even finish these videos and stuff, but I just wanted to show y'all just some key points on it. Maybe I'll go back and redo these, finish the rest of these videos later if I decide to do it. But I wanted just to show y'all these key points to bring up my number one point about this, the reason why these men are like the way they are. Because these men are trapped, just like in that movie Get Out. They're trapped and they're being indoctrinated. That's the reason why. And this is the reason why I say that the black manosphere is full of beta male simps is because of this reason. Because this dude's being hypnotized. This dude thinking that money solves everything when it doesn't. Money is a tool that could be used, but money is not absolute. But unfortunately, these YouTube streets, these Negroes running out here right now, thinking even in YouTube streets, thinking that I'm just gonna do all this crazy stuff because of money. I'm being motivated by money, money, money. I'm getting paid to do this, money, money, money. So we're talking down on each other, trolling each other, bullying each other around here, all because of money. You want to be motivated because of that. How low can you go for money? Turn each other down. But that is my one particular review of this tonight, y'all. I hope that I was able to articulate myself to the best ability to explain you the reason why they have this particular behavior. All right. So appreciate y'all tuning in to this long live 2-hour live. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Hopefully y'all get something out of this. I probably won't be clipping this too, so I can get some clout off of this. So other than that, thank y'all for tuning in, and I will see y'all again on the next episode. Y'all have a great night.